Jake.
What's up?
Jake Chelsea.
Hey.
How is it? How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Miss seeing you guys for
Wow.
5 days.
We're wait, what'd you say?
For 5 days. Miss seeing you guys for 5 days only.
Oh yeah. It's true.
I mean, we pod.
We pod.
How was Maine?
Maine was good. We didn't really talk about it last week. We love Jason and Carrie, so spending time with them was really cool. His family's really awesome. We got to go get lobster in the
Oh my gosh.
ocean and cook a bunch of that up. Spent time with a few other friends that we worked with in Florida and had a blast. So
That's awesome.
like 2 full days with Jason and Carrie, and that was really nice. And then seeing everyone else we had a really good time.
Oh, good. Good.
Hobith.
It was good. It was so fun. Our parents made it. So it was kind of like everybody from childhood was there this time after COVID and everything. It's been really hard to do, but they
Yeah.
actually made it. So it was so exciting. So my parents were actually there, which was great, but we did not get to eat lobster, which my mom was very upset about. She loves seafood.
You normally do?
Well, we normally will at least do like all you can eat crab legs or like get mom a lobster roll or something because she loves seafood.
Yeah.
And we did not get to do that this time. I'm very jealous of the food that you mentioned. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, they have like 10 traps, so we just went around on the boat and pulled. Each one had like 2 or 3 or 4, and then the last pot they just keep all that they catch throughout the week. So we just filled up the whole boat.
Oh my gosh, so delicious.
Yeah.
Are you a big butterer when you are eating seafood?
I mean, yeah.
Like a vat.
Not a vat. You just dip, like a dip, and eat. You don't have to you don't want to like scoop the butter. You just hit the butter.
I like to go like at least first knuckle deep in the butter, just one.
Put it all in your mouth, like even your up to your knuckle.
Oh, for sure. Why not? Butter. The more butter, the better. Better butterer.
She licked the ranch the cat.
I was when. So real quick, do you remember what happened in West Virginia or at the cabin?
No.
It was a ranch.
With
What?
the ranch.
No.
Me and Chelsea and you and Darren, and we were at the cabin.
Yeah.
And we had ranch, and you poured ranch on your salad, and then you licked the cap.
And then put it back on.
You licked the cap and then put it back on our ranch.
I don't remember that.
You didn't
I don't
notice. You
remember that.
noticed after the
No,
fact.
Darren called me.
Oh, Darren called you out, and then you were just like, "Did I just lick?"
I did.
cap?" Yeah.
Like right now, you saying it sounds vaguely familiar, but I would never, admit that on the World Wide Web. That's disgusting. It doesn't sound very on brand for me at all.
Debatable.
Don't ask any of guests. Don't ask any of our guests if they ever feel that way about me.
Yeah. We'll save that one.
We'll save it. Save it for the pod.
Okay, so it was you and Darren, Devin and
Yeah.
Jenna, your parents, Mark and
Seth
Vicky,
and Whitney.
Seth and Whitney,
Yeah.
Doug
Yep.
and Sophie, Milas.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So just our two families that have been going since we were like 12. And it was actually the first time in a long time that we were all there with nobody else there. Like no other just kind of like random people that we were invited or asked to go, like
Right.
Devin just plopping out the invites left and right. So, that we locked that down this year. So it was like family only. So it was cool.
I do want to talk to that couple and get their perspective on that.
I would love to hear Julie's side of it because she yeah. Okay, we'll save it. But yes.
Unless our guest has something to add to that.
Oh, I mean, she might.
So you've been going to Rehoboth since you were like 12. So like, do you have a lot of nostalgia wrapped up into?
Yeah, I feel like with vacations that you are able to, which obviously we're really fortunate that we can even do this continually, Shout out Vicky and Mark for like doing that every single year since we were young. But yeah, I feel like for vacations when you're a kid continuing into adulthood, it's really weird how quickly you can kind of turn back into a kid again. And like you kind of want to stay up late and be too loud and annoy the parents. And it's like, I'm 40 years old. Like, what am I doing? I need to go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But you just kind of get into that mood where you're like, yeah, I guess I'm just a kid again. Who knows what I'm up for?
Yeah.
And then you just are walking down the boardwalk. All the sights that you've seen forever are still there. It's just comforting. You know, it's like, oh, Gus is still making the gyros.
Yeah.
He's bent in half. He's literally bent in half. I'll send Chelsea a picture. I took a picture of him over the burner. Like, I don't know how his body's not singed. He's bent over the stove.
Is it where his like head's below the stove, but his arms still know how to do the?
Yes. He literally his whole half of his body is over the thing making the gyros, and his head is like way up here.
Oh man.
And he leaves that area, and his body is still in that angle, and he's walking around the restaurant, and I'm like, this man is incredible. I'll send Chelsea a picture. So it's amazing.
Yeah, we went there.
So
stayed at that house, and that I could see how that'd be like a nostalgic house to go to, and
yeah,
you can walk to everything, and
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, kind of like no HVAC, just the actual turn on AC unit. It's very idyllic.
Yeah, yeah, and all the floors are loud and like kind of creaky.
Right. And it's like growing up, you're like, oh man, I'm hot. And now that you grow up and you're actually there, you're like, don't you dare put HVAC in this place. It needs to stay the same.
Yeah.
I want to sweat all night.
Yeah. I'd probably there, but
yeah. You know, you can take it up with the parents. Take it up with them. See how they feel.
Yeah.
So
that's
we
cool.
got Sophie on. We got Sophie today as our guest.
Who's Sophie?
Sophie. Enter Sophie. Enter.
You want to, because we do need to get better about our introducing our guests.
Okay. Sophie is.
We forgot to say who Jenna was until the very end of the podcast last time.
Oh my God. Okay, Jenna is. Well, we told. So then we told, right? We said it. Okay.
But now we have Sophie.
Okay, yeah. So Sophie is Sophie Jackson. So many connections. Her dad is who owns the tool place where Darren works, where I work since COVID. My mom and her mom are best friends. They've been best friends since before Milas was born. Her and Jenna were best friends growing up. Jenna lived with them for a while. We go way back.
Her husband.
Oh, and yes, her husband is my husband's brother.
Yeah, it is. I thought you'd lead with that, but
that is also a connection.
Yeah.
A like connection.
So your life friend, sister-in-law, yeah. Things. Family.
Sister-in-law, lifelong friend, parents' lifelong friends. I mean, it's a family affair.
And then
there she is. We were
like America. Hanging on until you popped on.
She loves to lead with some suspense.
Yeah. Little delay. Yeah, I like that us being sister-in-laws is actually like the last the least of our connections, but
is it your least favorite of the connections?
There's just so many. There's so many to choose from, I feel like.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot.
We don't need Darren and Doug to define us, Jake.
That's right.
Okay.
So I met.
We could have married a totally different set of brothers perfectly happily, no problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Still continue.
That sounds like, I get what you're saying. You're saying you could have married different guys and you would have still been friends.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you were like, we could have married totally other guys and been just as fine.
Oh, no, we couldn't.
Okay.
We definitely, but we could have picked a different set of brothers, probably another set of brothers out there that we'd still be friends. But yes, we picked the best ones.
Right.
You guys want to rank like top 3 other sets of brothers you could have married and been all right?
It's a good question.
Is there anyone out there you can think of?
I mean, not a good set of brothers. That's like, we both like one of the other ones. You know, I feel like it would end up just being like one of them is better and the other one stinks. So who's going to get the stinky one?
Okay, so what if it was like Owen and Luke Wilson?
We both would want Owen, obviously.
Really? But Luke's actually pretty charming. No? You're both about okay. What about Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'll go with single for life.
Okay.
I love Jake's question. I don't love any of the possible answers.
Yeah, okay.
Get better guys. Get better brothers, Jake. Get better brothers.
I think he did good with Doug and Darren, for sure.
Yeah. So. We'll think about some other good brothers to maybe list and other people can choose in the comments on Instagram. But for now, no, there's no better brothers.
Okay.
NBD. No better brothers.
Darren and Doug.
Yes.
Is Doug up here or up there?
So Doug is in Puerto Rico working right now in Rincon, actually. So I kind of wish I tag along with him and just hang out at the hotels. But
yeah, that's fun. One thing we wanted to talk to you about was, how did you learn Chinese?
It's a process. I've heard that it's a 10-year process, apparently, which makes me feel like I have all the time in the world, you know, if it's a little longer than that. But I got kind of into it watching TV. And I think I kind of use it as an excuse to watch kind of dumb shows that I wouldn't justify spending my time on. Maybe I would. I probably still would, honestly. Let's be fair. But that's how I justify it. Yeah. So it's kind of an excuse to watch a lot of TV. There's a lot of TV out there in Chinese now. So it gives you an excuse to enjoy a little bit, some dumb stuff.
So you were watching Chinese shows that were in Chinese, or were you watching American shows that were dubbed in Chinese?
Chinese shows.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are they along the same lines of K-dramas?
Yeah, exactly. Very much. Have you seen any K-dramas?
No. But I've friends watching.
The quality of the filmmaking is questionable. There's a certain light kind of feel good quality to it that I think once you get into it, it's funny. I've gotten a few other people into it and probably also alienated others by pointless conversations about it. But some people have become real addicts, probably even more so than I, whether or not they're learning it and are enjoying it a lot. There's also like a few teenagers who are really into it who, you know, you got to take what you can get when it comes to relating to the young folks these days.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we talk K-pop and like Chinese and Korean dramas, stuff like that. Yeah.
That's cool. I think I thought, because I am into like music and to an extent like pop culture and things like that, that I would be able to relate to young people. And then I hit a point where I like realized I don't relate.
You're out.
Yeah. Well, like at all. Like I don't understand how their brain works at all.
Yeah. So. I remember when Sophie when she was like also doing the learning part of it, like real deal learning, like writing stuff down. And at one point we were looking at certain like famous people that were from that culture, remember? And we did slowly like pick out our favorites, but it was so short-lived. But we got into it, like where Sophie would say like, oh, did you see that so-and-so is dating so-and-so? And then I would like look at them on Instagram and be like, oh my word, she's gorgeous. Oh, they're at an award show. They're holding hands. Oh. And then it would be like 2 months later, I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. And I feel like that's also this generation of people. Like 1 month, you know, they're like really super into something and then you catch on and you're like, slay queen. And then like the next month they're like, we don't say that. What is wrong with you? You're an idiot.
Yeah. Or they like hold on to like, if two famous people don't get along, they don't like one of the famous people. They'll not like the other one.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I feel like we've had some of those too. Like growing up, like talk, like girls talk about famous celebrities and stuff. Sophie, I feel like we have had like a celebrity that we liked, or like even like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. Like when they got together, I remember talking to Milas and being like, I can't believe that he would do this. Like he left Jennifer Aniston. Sophie's in Nicaragua and we're still talking about it. Like I'm like, did you hear about Mary Kate Olsen? Like, what's going on with her?
I had a real pop culture blackout, I feel like, in the whole 20, maybe, and then maybe caught up a little bit during the pandemic just because. But I feel like, yeah, you got out of the habit. For a long time, there really wasn't anything available to consume. And so I actually remember with fondness, I remember a moment when I asked Melissa who Kim Kardashian was, and it was like very late in the game. It was late in the game, and I didn't know. But yeah, you could escape a lot of that stuff. Yeah, that pop culture stuff for a while, for better or for worse. Usually for better.
Yeah, for better. Yeah.
So so going back to learning Chinese, did it help that you already knew Spanish, or was it so different that it didn't even, like, does it trigger a part of your brain that allows you to learn that, or is it just so different?
So have you guys learned a second language or like dabbled in any second languages?
Dabbled, but definitely not like, oh, I can full throttle like do this now.
So I feel like regardless of whether one language is like the other, if you experienced any small degree of success where you knew what it was like to go from totally lost, totally zero, to kind of like the reward of having a conversation and that was going to happen one day, just the confidence or just the experience that that's possible, I think it wouldn't even matter if two languages had anything to do with, or any, it's kind of like sports. Maybe if somebody was good at one sport, they might actually be terrible at it, but they'd at least go into it with a little more confidence, like a new sport, than someone who wasn't. So I think it's kind of like that. Maybe it helps with your confidence a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Sense.
Yeah.
And then
I heard.
Okay.
I heard something kind of cool. If anyone is learning a language and feels like they're not doing very well with it, this was actually someone in the Chinese group, and they were saying this about Chinese particularly because it takes so long. But they said that basically for the first 5 years, there's always going to be some people who seem to be picking it up like really quickly. And then if you're one of the ones who it's like you're really struggling with it, it's really hard, you're going to get discouraged. But he said just like know that at 5 years, you're all going to get to a certain point and still kind of suck, but be able to, be like a little bit competent. And then no one's going to keep trying. Like the people, you just kind of get to this level and everyone's fine. And I think that might be true, that there's just for every language, maybe some it's more than others, but it takes a few years and then you're like, you get over the suffering. So I guess if you know you're going to one day get over the suffering, it helps.
Yeah, I got you.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then where do you use it? Like, do you teach Chinese? Is that part of what you did it for, or?
No, I used to and still do a few weeks a year, but I used to work as an interpreter for Spanish. And so I think when I first got into it, I thought, oh, someday it'll be useful for work one way or another. And then both of us were kind of interested in moving or like trying. We've been to China and we really liked it. It's kind of like the States where it just has so much scenery if you get out and around.
Yeah.
Just beautiful scenery, kind of cool. So we kind of liked it. So that was a possibility. But honestly, it just kind of was a rabbit hole, I think, more than anything. And that I can always find time to waste or for a useful purpose or not. Usually not. Do you guys get on a kick where you're not? I think we already mentioned like pop culture things, but do you guys get on a kick where you get really interested in something and you like want to learn everything about it, even if it's not really that relevant to your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, because I'm into sports already, but English soccer was like I got into it probably like I've followed Liverpool now for like maybe 15 years or something like that, 14 years. But then it's like I grew up with baseball and basketball and stuff like that, so I know all the like history of it. But then you get into soccer, and then it's like all the history of the team that you follow and everything else. You're like fresh, completely fresh. So So I'll get into that, and that has no use to my life whatsoever to know like who won the Champions League 20 years ago. But I got really into that. But I think like I've always had like a sports, like as far as like sports and music, it's like going back, and then same with music where I'll know like who was in what bands and like what this band came from, which was these two bands. Like really useless knowledge has always been really good for me. Like
I do feel like every time we talk about music or like we're around a group of people that bring up a band or a guy, like Jake will somehow be able to be like, oh, that guy's from this band. And did you know that in 1997, he actually joined this band for 4 months?
Mhm.
And when he did that, and I'm like, I'm lost. I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah.
But you do have that knowledge locked down about bands and the people that play the music.
Yeah.
You know, and you may say that it's like useless information, but I think it's great for conversations, especially with other people who love music.
Yeah. But then like you said, you were like, I was lost. and then you're just like talking to hear yourself talk.
Then you just get a mirror and you're just like, in another fact.
And then another cool thing, and you're just talking to yourself.
Yeah. Everyone's already went outside to have dinner. We're like, Jake's just rattling.
Yeah.
I feel like it's useful to be friends with people. I like to be friends with people who are really knowledgeable about music, though, because I mean, it does, there's a lot to know about it and it is interesting. But yeah, if you haven't really taken the time to learn, I'm just like, Jake, going to be like, just drop me something cool so I can look cool. Like I know something about
my friends.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like useless information. I feel like even more useless is like, oh, so your rabbit hole question, a very useless thing that I found out about or was reading about, literally like bought a book online about, I could look it up on my phone, was like how social media over the ages has changed and why. And then specifically like how not people on TV and not like necessarily like, let's say the Kardashians just because they're a big name, but like specifically how the people that are in charge of the big people on TV or on social media, how they can like create a story or a storyline about famous people that makes normal people feel like they can relate to a famous person, and then they get addicted to their life. And then that's what causes them to be famous. So I did go down a rabbit hole of like I didn't realize this, but like there's very, very old books that were written about like how to connect with people, even though like I'm trying to remember what it was called, but it's basic. It's called like all these different effects. It's like, it would be like the Jake effect would be like when you bring up a song that someone likes and then 9 minutes later you're here, and it's like just the way that you can kind of like manipulate society into thinking that like you can be so relatable to a famous person who's absolutely not, like you are not relatable to that person at all. I don't know if I'm saying it the right way. I'd have to look up like the link to the book and like read an excerpt or something.
Is it the How to Win Friends and Influence People? Is that the book that you're thinking of?
So that would be like a newer version of this. Absolutely. Yes. But it would be like finding a common denominator between you and someone else that in reality you have no interest in it whatsoever, but then you hone in on something that maybe that person likes, and then your way of like figuring out a way to like use that basically to monetize yourself, and how many people in social media basically will do that, right? So it's just like people that don't matter like at all, like especially like on TikTok and stuff, people will do that. That's how they become famous on TikTok. Like there's people on TikTok that are just as famous as Kim Kardashian, but you have no idea who they are. I don't. Sophie doesn't. But if you were to like think
Kim
of
Kardashian is barely.
Yeah. Sophie literally is like, who is Kim Kardashian? Is it Kardashian? Am I saying that right? But I found that very fascinating. So I was like rabbit holing. When was the first like basically ideas of using television to like create reality TV? Like why did that happen? What was the point of it? Why did we even need that to be on TV? It's like we have all these shows like The Addams Family. not super relatable, just a weird, quirky show. Or what's the cop guy, the derpy cop guy that's probably from West Virginia? Oh my gosh. Black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Anyway, the point is, people are going to write in the comments exactly what I'm talking about. You know who you are. And please write in the comments.
It's gonna be Jenna.
It'll be Jenna.
Griffith, the Griffith show.
Oh, Andy Griffith. Yeah.
Andy Griffith. That is not relatable, but people loved it and they watched it for years. So it's like then all of a sudden it was like reality TV. We need reality TV. So this is a long way around, but that was like my rabbit hole of like, why did we have to switch from like a show to like reality TV to where now even Seinfeld is off the air? Like, you know, to all the Seinfeld people that are fans. But I'm just saying, I thought that was fascinating. Like, what was the point of that? Why did we need to go down a reality TV time in our lives? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but even like the reality TV is all fake. Like I remember I was watching a clip on there's like a famous Cribs with Redman, and they were interviewing him about because he had him come to his house, like just a rundown house in like the city. And then he said when they called, they were like, "Okay, we have 3 houses picked out for you." Like all of MTV Cribs is just like not people's houses, just like nice houses. And so he's like, "What do you mean? Like you have 3 houses picked out?" And he was like, "Oh, I get it. Like you're not actually MTV Cribs isn't actually like people's houses. It's just like showing off like a perception of these famous people." So he had him come to his actual house, and it's.
I want to know more about this.
In like Staten Island. So
isn't it funny how it could be something like reality TV or Cribs that you wouldn't necessarily be interested in watching, but someone will talk about it and like you're like the secrets behind it.
Oh yeah.
And we're all riveted.
Yeah.
Like
yes.
I don't want to actually watch it, but I'll listen to people talking about watching it with all my attention.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's why I like podcasts, because they'll interview people and then if you get them in like an honest moment, they'll be like, "What was that about?" And they're like, "Oh, that was," and then they'll start talking about that day and what actually happened. And it's totally different than what the show or whatever it was made that person look like or seem.
Yeah.
So
Sophie and I were talking this morning about different podcasts that we like and that we have listened to. And that kind of goes along too with like what you were saying, Sophie, about like how over the years it went from like the girl boss. So like Boss Babes, like make that money, you know, girls are their own boss now, starting their whatever. And now it's gone into like, I don't even want to be a girl boss. Who started girl bossing? That's not something I'm into.
It was, now it's stay-at-home girlfriend is like the aspirational thing. So we're like, that's always existed. That's not a new thing.
We're like, that's what we've wanted for our whole life.
That's funny. Yeah, it's like cyclical.
Yeah. Okay, so what about songs? We got to get songs.
Yeah.
I am actually going to have to find my songs. I did not have time to even look for songs this week.
Okay.
I am a loser.
Yeah, I feel like I need to get new songs from Jake. You know, when you spend most of your time listening to like K-pop and Chinese drama audios, you kind of slack on the other things. You're going to have to send me a week. I guess I'll listen to the pod.
We have the pod and we have the playlist that you can listen to. Do you have the playlist on Spotify?
Yeah, I'll get on that.
Yeah. So every week when we give 3 songs, they go onto a Spotify playlist. So it's like up to like 2.5 hours of music of all sorts. Yeah, I actually tried to really think about my songs this week because I'll sometimes just put what I've been listening to or just think of songs that I like. But then I think there's like bands that I haven't even put on the playlist yet that I listen to all the time.
Like on the regular.
On the regular. Okay, so so here we'll try to figure out your 3 songs. What did you grow up listening to?
Oh, should I songs or you're gonna find me? You're gonna find me like personalized.
If you've got 3 songs, then we can do your 3 songs.
Okay, well, I thought of a few songs, but they're not going to be anything new or like super cool. The one of them is this is I feel like 10 years old, but it's still on my playlist and I still enjoy it. It's Matthew and the Atlas.
You and the
I will
Okay.
the song I listen to the most is I Will Remain, and then I'm going to put a Chinese song because it's like a feel good drama song.
Yes.
It's
all right.
Xing Fei Di. It's Harlem You. It's from a really famous, kind of iconic Chinese kids TV show. and
Say
and
that one
then
again. All right, say that one again.
Qing Fei Di. And then one of them is I was going to put Neil Young's and Crazy Horse Milky Way because the last time I asked my friends for recommendations, the first person to respond was Halston. Shout out Halston and Ashley. And I really enjoyed the song and I appreciated it. You know, when you're on a road trip and you just haven't been around for a while and ask everybody for a song, and he contributed that one. So I actually, when I grew up, my dad listening to like Bob Dylan and Neil Young, and we would make fun of him and secretly like it. And I feel like it stood the test of time. I don't think that's like news to anybody, but
yeah. What was your first concert?
First concert. I didn't go to very many concerts when I was a teenager, but we went to Blink-182. Better Than Ezra. We went to Better Than Ezra with these girls who were such fans. I have to say, like we weren't exactly, I feel like, special fans or anything, but the girls we were with, they were from New Orleans. And I don't know if Better Than Ezra might be from New Orleans, but there was some kind of like New Orleans thing. If you were from New Orleans, like you were obsessed. And so they were, and it was actually super, super fun. It was a good concert. And yeah, those two come to mind. I was pretty young.
Cool. Blink. We talk about Blink a lot, I think, or we imply them a lot in this.
Yeah, I feel like Blink-182 is like our get. Like if we could get Blink-182 on our podcast,
I mean, get them on.
Get them on. I mean, we would end the podcast. We'd be like, and that's it. We did it.
And
thanks for being here.
And that was Tom
talking
about aliens for 4 hours.
Oh,
you could have a little jam sesh with Darren and Doug and Blink.
Oh,
and
yeah.
just Blink, Darren and Doug, the best brothers ever, and just rage.
I don't know if Darren and Doug would even let them play. They would just play. They'd be like, "Sure, we'll play your song."
Yeah, knowing Darren and Doug, they'd be like, "That's cute. Have you ever heard this song?" And they're like, "That's my song. You're playing my song.
Watch this.
Check this out." I remember, again, nostalgia at Rehoboth. We would go to Rehoboth, and Doug was an amazing drummer, and he and Darren would jam out. But when we would go to Rehoboth, they had like a little drum set, and Doug would get on it and play the drums, and we were just young teenagers. And I remember being like, this is the coolest guy ever. He literally is just playing the drums, like on a boardwalk. Like I could just be here for a while watching the other girls walk by that I don't know and being like, we're with this guy, I guess. He'll be my brother-in-law one day. I mean, do I need to say anything else?
You were like, I'm going to marry that guy's brother.
That's as close to him as I could get. I'll marry your brother.
Yeah.
I'm not marrying Charlie Sheen's brother, that's for sure. There's only a few
Emilio, say your goodbyes.
Emilio.
Darren, hello.
Man.
Okay, Jake, what are your songs?
Mine are Indestructible by Rancid.
Whoa.
I Don't Know by the Beastie Boys. And Dancing on the Radio by Angel Dust.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm such a nerd. I was taking notes, and you're gonna put them in the links.
I'm in the link.
Yeah. It's gonna be in the links. It's all linked.
Here's your connection. The guys in Angel Dust are the drummer for Angel Dust is the lead singer of Turnstile. There's your connection.
Shut up.
And the song Listen on the Radio features Tim Armstrong from Rancid, who's also in the Transplants with Travis Barker, who's in Blink-182. There's your connection.
What? No. See, Sophie, what's that game? Like 100 connections to David. Yeah.
Or sorry, David Bacon? Kevin? Not David.
Kevin Bacon.
Kevin Bacon.
Not David Bacon. David Bacon is a random guy we know. So no, not him.
I imagine like David Bacon like listening to the pod and be like, me, I don't know anybody.
I'm dying. Okay. But that would be like Jake, but like with bands. Like he's like Jake, you can give like two random, you could be like Mozart and Tom DeLonge. And he'd be like connect. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are your
So yeah. Okay. So my song, one of them is just going to be all of Depression Cherry, the album.
you're gonna put a whole album on the list?
Can I not have 3 songs? Can I just do the Depression Cherry album by Beach House?
You want a whole?
No.
Pick one. Just pick one from it.
Okay. Do Wildflower.
Wildflower from Peach Pit?
From Beach House.
Beach House.
Yeah.
What's the Peach Pit?
Peach Pit, I think you're thinking of Passion Pit.
Passion Pit.
Or yeah. And then
you hang out at the Peach Pit?
yeah, you really let your music prowess just drop to the bottom of the barrel there.
That's fine.
Wait, do you mean like Passion Peach? Is that what you're referring to?
Passion Peach?
Jade.
Got it.
Okay, and then another song I'll do is Sophie could probably pronounce these better, but because they're in French, and she also knows some French too. Shocker. I'll just say La Belle Affaire. It could also be foul. I have no idea. It's in French. Who knows? But I think the actual singer is Cleo. Clio. And the name of the song is La Belle Affaire. Everything's spelled the way it sounds, except the word affair has an E on the end.
Got it. And one more. We got 1 minute. What else you got?
Okay, and so then how about Funeral by Phoebe Bridges, and everybody can just want to.
I think that's 2 weeks in a row with Phoebe Bridges.
Oh man, don't even get me started. Yeah, I can name Phoebe every week.
All right. Well, we're not gonna get you started because we gotta go. But
yeah, well, Sophie and I have better things to do than pod with you.
Yeah, I have better things to do than pod with you guys.
Sophie's like,
come back.
Sophie actually has some numbers that she needs to count, so that's more important than this pod right now. So,
all right,
just crunching.
I have to go charge my AirPods.
Yeah, I have to go make my bed. So, talk to you later.
Bye.